general who was the army commander for during the time of that surgical strike in 2016, now joins me on this India Today special broadcast. General Huda, as always, welcome on India Today, sir. What do you make of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's message to the three service chiefs? Decode for us, what does a free hand to the armed forces to respond to terror, to punish terror? What does that mean, sir?
So Gaurav, thank you. Pleasure to be on your show. I think the Prime Minister has told the service chiefs that they are now free to plan what kind of military response should be there, what shape it will take, how long they will take for its preparation, what is a good time to launch it. And I think it's a good decision by the Prime Minister because the service chiefs are aware of what the ground situation is, where are the vulnerabilities, which are our strong points, and how they can be utilized just in case, it is intended to use military force. So this is the right way, Gaurav, to do it so that the military does its planning based purely on professional issues and professional reasons. And obviously, it doesn't mean that the military can then just go ahead and do whatever it wants. The ultimate approval will have to come from the political leadership. The ultimate approval for conduct of whatever military operations are envisaged will come from the Prime Minister.
Okay. So what do you make of what's happening across? Pakistan's information minister going live at 2 in the morning saying an attack is imminent. It could happen within 24 hours. It could happen in 36 hours. Their prime minister reaching out to the United Nations. Why is Pakistan so jittery right now?
No, because I think they know that India's red lines have been crossed. They know that the Prime Minister has responded to major terrorist attacks with use of military force. And I think that is what is making them nervous and jittery, that, looking under every rock to see, is there an Indian Army soldier here? What are they going to do? How is it that they will quickly respond to us? Clearly, because India has shown in the past that terror attacks of this nature will be responded to. And clearly, that is what is making them very nervous.
Okay. Okay. You were army commander at the time of that surgical strike across the LC in 2016 post-Uri. That time you had element of surprise, didn't you, sir? Did Pakistan anticipate it? Or Balakot, did Pakistan anticipate that there'd be an airstrike, not just across the LC, but hit them across the international border? This time, isn't that element of surprise already lost? Look at the hysteria in Pakistan. Look at the kind of exercises, the deployment of their army, the exercises of their air force. Is that opportunity lost, sir?
No, so Gaurav, to be fair, that 2016 was a big surprise for the Pakistan army because they had never felt that India would be able to, and the Indian army would be able to carry out such sort of extensive cross-border operation. To be fair, some limited operations had been carried out in the past, but they did not expect it. So there was an element of surprise. I think similarly in 2019, they didn't expect the use of air power, which everyone, at that time was saying could be considered escalatory. And the fact that the airstrike was carried out on Pakistani territory, not on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, was also an element of surprise. I don't think we have that advantage now. But Gaurav, that doesn't mean that there aren't vulnerable areas, there aren't vulnerable points, there aren't targets that the Indian military, with the current capability that it has, since 2019, there has been significant enhancement in particularly the kind of aircraft that we have, the kind of air defenses we have. So I wouldn't say that the military option cannot be exercised just because the Pakistan Army, Navy, Air Force is prepared.
True, we have the Rafales, we have the S-400s, but when you look at the situation on ground right now, and I was just explaining, like you saw that map, ceasefire violations that are taking place on either side of the Pir Panjal. Now, reports suggest that as of now, they are small arms. But in your appreciation, They've already expanded to IB in one sector, in Jammu and Pargwal. Is this already a sign of escalation? Is that a signal that they are sending out? Is that a signal that we are sending out?
Uh, so, Gaurav, we can't insulate the line of control and the ceasefire from the state of relationship that India and Pakistan have. So currently there is enormous tension. Troops would have built up on both sides of the border and the line of control. There would be suspicion about every movement that takes place. So I don't think we can expect this state of tensions happening between the two countries and say, look, but there is a ceasefire understanding, so everything would be fine. I would think the ceasefire understanding is currently extremely fragile. And if further military action is taken, I'm afraid it could completely break down.
So this arc of ceasefire violations, and we are showing this on the map, right from Kupwara to Baramulla to Neelam Valley to the Pir Panjal, come down to Poonch, Rajouri, Krishna Ghati sector. It's increasing now to Akhnur and Pargwal. Is the arc of ceasefire violation widening, and will India's response, will that be limited just to small arms, or do you expect and anticipate fire assaults to start taking place, artillery to open up, the 155 howitzers, or can it also escalate to a surgical strike across?
See, we've already seen a spread. So initially, what we saw was that it started off, around Kashmir, spread to the line of control in Jammu. Now it's spread to the IB sector. So you could see. I mean, I don't know. So I've also heard that the DGMOs have spoken to each other.
Yes.
Whether that attempt to speak to each other will actually put a check and control on ceasefire violations. Look, Gaurav, tensions are there. They're mounting tensions. There are indications that India could carry out military action. In such a situation, I think for us to expect that troops along the border will exercise restraint, I think is not correct. Now, whether it leads to fire assaults or it goes up, only depends on, as I said, how things pan out over the next week or 10 days.
Okay, but from what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, that not just terrorists but the backers will be punished. Now, if the aim is to punish the Pakistan army, and if the aim is to ensure that Pakistan army gets deterred and does not carry out the next terror attack in our country, what kind of targets does India need to acquire across? It clearly has to be more than just a launch pad or a terror camp. It has to inflict significant pain on the Pakistan army on some of their locations, isn't it, sir?
Look, whether they select an army location or a terrorist camp, the fact that Indian military is being applied across the border is a direct signal to Pakistan army. I mean, if some terror attack happens in India, don't we question our own security officials? Don't we question the army and say, look, how is it that this has happened? So, yeah, so I'm saying irrespective of the kind of target that is chosen, and again, that will be carefully chosen by the military. It still sends a message to Pakistan army that we can come across areas that you are defending and strike targets in your territory.
Okay. And in your appreciation, sir, and as we look at this map of Jammu and Kashmir, so far, on the other side of Zojila, I mean, we've had a war in Kargil that Pakistan violated the line of control and entered in the Kargil sector. Before that, we've had a hot situation all along the AGPL, or the actual ground position line at the Siachen Glacier. But those battles or those battle areas remain frozen. They've withstood all pressures. Does that suit us? Whether it's the AGPL, the Kargil sector, or the international border in Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat, situation along the Arabian Sea, will this remain confined to Jammu and Kashmir or expand?
Yeah, so this always happens, Gaurav. It would be clearly unprofessional to think that our military will do something and that they will not react. They will react. That also has to be built in your planning. And so when the service chiefs are considering different options, they will consider the fact that there could be retaliation. If that retaliation happens, what should be our reaction? Uh, the whole game, Gaurav, is that at each escalatory cycle, at each escalatory ladder, the attempt is that you should come out on top.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it may not, like you spoke about the last Balakot airstrike where they did something, we did something, and then it's sort of calmed down. It may lead to escalation, and that is something that we need to be prepared for. I think that's clearly there that at some levels uh, matters could escalate. How do you deal with that escalation is something that would be war game that would be discussed.
And we're on top of that escalation ladder, but opening new areas, is that in our interest? Because Pakistan, perhaps, as some commentators say, would like to keep it confined to J&K so that it can concentrate its forces and not expand the battle. Does that suit us or does that not suit us either?
So I think for now, Gaurav, the government's idea would be to try and send a strong message to Pakistan that terrorist activities will find a response from India. They will try and do it I would say without escalating matters too much, unless we see things over a period of time completely blowing out of control. On Siachen, the ceasefire at the AGPL has held. Kargil has been sort of peaceful. I don't see sort of an all-out kind of attempt being made by India. Uh, as I said, what is our intent? Our intent is to tell Pakistan that activities that you do will carry a cost. And that cost will be imposed on you. And I think we can do that and impose that cost without, frankly, going across the international border or heating up the complete India-Pakistan border.
Will Pakistan Army understand? Because all our efforts in the past, they understand up to a point and then not beyond. For example, after Balakot, they did not hit us or no terrorist has struck India in the rest of the country. But Jammu and Kashmir, they've kept the pressure up. What is it that we need to do to ensure that Pakistan does not even attempt J&K, that terror is no longer a low-cost option for them, even if it means Asim Munir's survival, even for him to survive or for Pakistan Army to remain on top? Will a fire assault be okay? Will they get the message through a fire assault at the LC? Is there another way to send across that message to Pakistan that no terror is no longer acceptable anywhere in India?
Look, irrespective of how it is done, whether it is single service or you do a combination of, some ground operations along with the air operation, it will require synergy between all three services. It cannot be that, when the airstrike is happening, the army is unprepared for any retaliation which will come on the ground, or that the Navy has not also prepared to see if things escalate, what is it that they're going to do. So there's going to be complete synergy, irrespective of the kind of strikes that happen. But I think all three services will have completely synergized their operations.
And suddenly we hear a lot of nuclear threats that are coming from Pakistan, that, their bombs are not for decoration, they're not to be kept in chalks, they're not for drawing rooms, they are to be used. What do you make of that nuclear bogey? Would that deter an Indian military response, a punitive Indian military response, or have we seen through the nuclear bogey or their nuclear their threats?
So, Gaurav, this is a standard playbook. Every time there is a crisis between the two countries, the first thing that Pakistan pulls out is its nuclear card, trying to show mainly the international community that any response by India could lead to a nuclear holocaust in South Asia. But we have seen this playbook in the past. It hasn't prevented us from at least carrying out limited military strikes. We saw that in 2019 in Balakot that we did use. So, from an Indian perspective, I think there is a sense that space exists to carry out some military operations below the nuclear threshold. And this nuclear blackmail, frankly, I think has run its course.
Pakistan's nuclear blackmail has run its course, but India's actions, or at least, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is saying that government of India is saying that we'll hold the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. Now, analysts in Pakistan are panicking. There are several who say that this could be catastrophic, and they don't see our blood, being shed from Pulwama to Pahalgam to 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks to Ahmedabad to terror attacks across our country. That did not make them jittery. Suddenly their water being stopped is making them very jittery, and they say, how can you parch an entire country? How can you starve an entire country? Now they're panicking. What do you make of their panic?
Look, if you look at the statement that India has made, where it talks about holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, it also links it with Pakistan's terrorist activities very directly. That it is held in abeyance, till Pakistan continues to use terrorists. So they're sending a clear message, very clear message, that if you continue to do what you are doing, then your water security is threatened. And that, as you know, has created enormous kind of worry, enormous panic in Pakistan. Look at the statements that have coming out that, we'll go to war over the water. Loose statements by Pakistani politicians that Indian blood is going to flow in Indus. I mean, this is just showing their great concern. So I think India's step in saying that we're going to hold this in abeyance is possibly the strongest message that India could send out.